So we're going to start with buyers first. And you know, I left last segment kind of asking the question of, hey, if I buy a house, is it a good investment? Is it going to be worth tomorrow than what I paid for it today? How long is that going to last? Or should I wait for the market to stop? We're getting some of those comments and not necessarily objections, but real concerns from buyers saying, hey, I'm nervous about the state of the market. I'm not sure what's going to happen, so I'm just going to wait. And the reality is, with buyers still outweighing sellers, home prices are forecasted to continue to climb next year, just at a slower pace, at a more moderate pace. So why the continued increase? Well, it's just simple supply and demand. When there are fewer items on the market than there are buyers, the competition for that item makes prices naturally rise. And of course, real estate is no different. And while the number of homes for sale today is expected to improve with more sellers getting ready to list their home in the next few months, we're certainly not out of the inventory woods yet. So the projections do show continued appreciation, but they're at a more moderate rate than what we've seen over the past year with 18% increase in pricing in the Charleston Tri-County area, which is, from my understanding, unprecedented. Certainly since we've been tracking data available to real estate agents to use and helping people understand market trends. Now, you've got a few different groups of experts that are, of course, saying different things with regard to what they think is going to happen with regard to pricing. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are projecting a 7% increase in home values next year, while the National Association of Realtors is saying just 2.8%. And I think they're trying to be a little conservative there. I think it's going to be a little higher than that. And here's what some of the industry experts are saying about the housing market. So there's Brad Hunter of Hunter Housing Economics that says the recent unsustainable rate of home price appreciation will slow sharply. Home prices will not decline, but they will simply rise at a more sustainable pace. I agree with that. Danielle Hale from Realtor.com says that price growth is expected to move back toward a normal range, but this is on top of recent high prices. So prices will still hit new highs. The pace of price growth is going to slow notably. So what does this mean? What does this mean for the housing market? While home appreciation is expected to continue, it isn't projected to be at that record-setting 18-20% increase that the market saw over the past 12 months. There are some areas of Charleston that are up over 30%, believe it or not. That is a massive amount of appreciation in a 12-month period. Clearly an unsustainable rate, right? So what does this mean for you? With motivated buyers in the market and so few homes available to purchase, the imbalance of supply and demand is going to continue to put pressure on prices next year. I don't see a way around that unless there's something just completely unexpected that has some sort of significant impact on the economics and, of course, the housing market. And so with home appreciation in the forecast, that is a kind of clear indicator from my perspective that your investment in home ownership is a good one. So, it's important to know that home prices are not projected to decline in the next year. They're projected to rise, just at a more moderate pace. So if you have questions about purchasing a home, I will tell you this. We have gotten really good at winning multiple offers while also not just paying the seller what they want to get. At the end of the day, especially when a property hits the market, assuming that the property is priced well, it's in good condition, it's in an attractive location, we're still seeing multiple offers almost every time. So if your strategy as a seller is to overprice and to try and find that buyer that's just willing to pay what you want, that is certainly a strategy, and it can work. What we have found to be the more effective strategy for sellers is to price it at or slightly above what it's worth and then have buyers fight over it, right? You want that buyer to get emotional about that process and about that decision. Maybe they've lost a few multiple offer situations already Maybe they have a real need to move. Maybe it's not one of those buyers that say, "Oh, well, I'll move if I find the right house." Maybe they're moving here. It's happening. They're relocating to the area. They need a house. They don't want to get stuck in a 6 to 12 month lease, which, by the way, those prices are going through the roof. And so you're hoping to find one of those buyers that's like, you know what? I'm not losing. I refuse to lose. I'm going to win. Here's an offer. I dare you to reject this, basically, is kind of what you want from a seller's perspective when dealing with buyers. Now, from a buyer's perspective, especially when you work with a real estate agent that really understands the market and the process and the dynamics and has good negotiating skills, first step is, what is the house worth? Right? That should be the benchmark for any buyer, is we need to determine what this house is worth right now. Now, of course, when we're looking at what property is worth, there's 3 different perspectives to that. There's how much the buyer is willing to pay. There's how much the seller is willing to sell it for. And there is the verification based on a third party from sales data that says, based on what other people have been paying for similar things, this is what we believe the market is telling us it's worth. And that's what the role of the real estate agent is to say, this is what we believe the home is worth, fair market value. Now, let's have a conversation to determine how much this particular home is worth to you, and let's come up with a game plan. Let's act accordingly. It's really easy for buyers in this market to become emotionally charged and emotionally invested in the process. And don't get me wrong, we want to get you the house, but we need to remain professional and like that rock in the water that doesn't move. We need to be the voice of reason at times for buyers that, in our opinion, are making unwise decisions. And we don't shy away from those conversations. Ultimately, you guys make the decisions as to what you want to do with your life and with your house and with your money. But you want to rely on the advice and the knowledge and the experience of a real estate agent that can give you those clear indicators, that can set those benchmarks for you. And then, of course, deploy a strategy that's going to help you buy the house you want to buy. Now, that's all assuming we're going after something on the open market where everybody has access to it and everybody can fight over it. Where we're really winning right now as a real estate team is in finding property for our buyer clients that no one else knows about yet because they're not openly for sale. And we do that very simply by employing a team of people that I have on my real estate team, and their job all day, every day, is to simply find people that either want to buy a house that we have for sale or that want to sell a home that one of our buyers is interested in purchasing. And there's a bunch of different ways that we do that, and I'm certainly not going to say on air what we do and what our strategy is to find those opportunities. But I do want you to understand, if you're a buyer in this market, there are creative ways for us to find a home for you rather than just dealing with what is actively for sale or what you can find on Zillow. So if you want to learn more about how we do that, either on the buyer side or on the seller side, I mean, we've got a database of people that actively search our website that's 16,000 people strong. And what's really cool is we can look at that database and say, if this is the address of the home that we're about to list, and it has this number of bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, and it's going to be in this price range, how many buyers in our database do we have for that property right now? And it's usually hundreds. Sometimes it's over 1,000. Meaning we already have databases of buyers waiting to purchase property. So if you're a seller and you kind of want to skip the line and find out how many buyers we have for your home, give us a call. If you're a buyer, we have the same type of database, but on the seller side, people that will be selling their home at some point in the future with predetermined prices. And if we don't have somebody already identified, we know how to find them. So if that's a process you're interested in learning more about, it's one of the things that we're doing for our clients that, quite frankly, is setting us way apart from our competition. We'd love to talk with you more about how we're doing that. Give me a call, 843-800-0065. That's my personal cell, 843-800-0065. Call or text. Or just go to our website, listingsincharleston.com. You can communicate with us through that. And lastly, you can send an email, brian@brianbeattyteam.com. Stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the trends that we're going to notice next year. We're going to talk more about what's going to happen if you're going to sell your home next year, what to expect. And we're also going to talk about the investment side of real estate. So All that and more as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues right here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Hear the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 and each Sunday morning at 10 on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.